Hello, this is Sarath Kumar Nagaraj. Today I'm going to present my vocabulary application called Learn Spanish. Uh, in order to create this application, I have started with a competitive analysis. In competitive analysis phase, I have uh, performed competitive analysis on 5 different vocabulary applications in order to understand uh, what are the current features available in vocabulary application and what could be better, and what are the features users are exa- uh, currently using. So after conducting competitive analysis, and then I have continued performing my user research in order to understand users pain points, frustrations, and then user needs and goals. So I have interviewed up to 5 participants for my user research of various age categories and different professions. From the user research insights and data, I have created 3 personas, and then based on the personas I have created, I have chosen Timothy Laser, who's a financial professional, as my primary persona. So the important quote I would like to mention here of my persona, Timothy Laser, is uh, I'm a visual person. Yes, it is quite frustrating when I don't understand the definition and context. So this was the quote mentioned by Timothy Laser when I was interviewing the participant, exactly when I was asking about how the participant feels when the vocabulary he's looking for doesn't have appropriate information in the context, or sometimes if he doesn't understand it. And then the goals and motivations of the persona Timothy Laser is, uh, since he's a financial professional, he would like to have an appreciable vocabulary base when he is communicating with his senior colleagues, or even communicating with international clients. And in order to have appreciable vocabulary, he wants to have an option of practicing vocabulary regularly. And then uh, the purpose of having appreciable vocabulary is like he wants to feel confident and smart while interacting with officials and international clients. That makes him more knowledgeable. So, and one of the important motivation of the persona is he is always looking to advance in career, both professionally and personally. So he and one more important uh, motivation and goal of my persona is the user understands things more visually than uh, so the problem statement here, I would like to mention, before mentioning the problem statement, I would like to state what is the problem my persona is facing. So my persona Timothy tries to learn Spanish in order to improve his Spanish vocabulary base for 2 main reasons. In order to improve, so the primary reason Timothy wants to learn Spanish is when he interacts with international clients, especially with the Spanish clients. Uh, he wants to have a very good vocabulary so that he could communicate things, uh, you know, communicate things better, and then you're trying to deliver the message, completely in a right manner. And he has quite a few Spanish friends, so he wants to have an enjoyable conversation in Spanish. Uh, and so, in order to have an enjoyable conversation, he needs to have a very good vocabulary base so that he can communicate without any flaws and then without any interruption in between. So, the problem statement I have defined here is Timothy Laser needs a way to understand the context and pronunciation of vocabulary, especially Spanish, because he needs to have an appreciable vocabulary base in order to interact with international clients in Spanish and finance and communicate well with his friends to have an enjoyable conversation. And moving on to the next slide. So this is a fair draft of my prototypes I've created, and these prototypes are like created for usability testing, and there is another version of a prototype which I have created after incorporating user feedback and comments after the usability testing. So I'd like to take you through the process of the prototyping I have followed. So according to the requirements of the application, so I have started with onboarding and then login process and then adding a vocabulary and then way of practicing the vocabulary. So here I have directly mentioned login screen. Once the user is able to log in, and then he's taken to a welcome screen where it welcomes the user in order to learn Spanish. And then once the user logs into the application, he has the ability to add a vocabulary and then say the vocabulary. And if he wants to practice, he can practice using a couple of options. One is practicing using flashcard, and the other is practicing using pronunciation check. So I have given two features in this applications to practice. One is flashcard and the other is pronunciation check. The flashcard is to memorize the word and the pronunciation check is to practice the pronunciation of the vocabulary. Moving on to next slide. So the usability test plan I have created for this application is, first the user starts with login process, and then I have mainly three significant tasks as part of usability testing for the participants. To start off with adding a new vocabulary and to search the vocabulary in the application, and then once the user is completed with the vocabulary adding part, he or she is asked to practice the vocabulary using flashcard feature. Once that is done, pronunciation check practices feature is asked to complete. So once all these three are complete, I have asked user to complete an optional task, which is changing the password. So for this usability test, I have 5 tasks completed by participants. One of the 5 is an optional, which is changing the password. Moving on to next slide is early prototypes. So the prototypes I have prototype screens I have created for usability testing are shown in this slide. So especially I have mentioned here login screen, practice with playing option, and then practice by pronunciation check option. So what are the failure options when I have completed the usability testing? So the failures of this particular application I've created mainly are, so for the new users when they are trying to log in, so I have not given an option of register where it takes the user to a registration form where user can fill the login details. So after completing the usability testing and analyzing the failures of the application, and then I have worked on improving some of those failures, especially to start off with the login screen. So the improvement I have made is I have added an option called register for the new user. So if user is a new user on trying to create an account uh, without using Google, Facebook, or Twitter, so user can click a register option, which can directly take the user to a registration form where user could fill in the details and create an account and reach the welcome screen. And with practice by playing flashcard feature, I have removed the two options no and do not know, because it is misleading the user and it's confusing which option to go with. So I have simply removed those two options and I have added a loudspeaker just below the word. So in order for user to listen, if a user feels uh, he or she wants to listen to the word and then to know the translation of the word in English by clicking click to flip. And then finally the practice pronunciation check option. So I have placed two speakers, one for each English and Spanish, in order for user to listen before the user wants to check his or her pronunciation by touching the mic. So these are the 3 improvements I have made after the usability testing with the feedback from the users. Moving on to the next slide. With the improvements and the feedback from the users, Especially I wanted to focus on three main things along with overall look and feel and functionality of the application. To start off with, a login form. So as an improvement login form, improvement to the login form, the registration form should be created. Registration form screen should be created with very few input fields from the user. And once the user is, is done with filling the registration form and successfully registered and then taken to the welcome screen, I would like to have a banner or a text saying that registration is complete, so that user knows that he or she has he has successfully completed the registration. And moving on to the flashcard option, so since I have removed both the options, I know and I do not know, so it is pretty clear for the user. And once user click to flip to know the translation of the word in English, I need to provide a go back option, which takes directly to the practice screen of the flashcard feature application. And moving on to the next option is pronunciation check. So here, as an improvement, I have added a mic where user can touch and say the word. So along with this, I would like to remove the check result button when the application evaluates user's pronunciation, and I'm going to provide two options, either to pass the pronunciation saying or to try again, so that it gives users time to pronunciate the word or try again slowly. So, and overall, the application, I would like to make three changes or three improvements, I would say. So I would like to remove the search option from the bottom bar and put it at top of the application, just below the top bar, in order to maintain consistency and to make way for other options to occupy the bottom screen. And then the notifications icon, I have actually not used any functionalities to the notifications icon, so I I I think I should move the notifications icon to the top bar in order to let user know if there is any upgrade or any new notifications to the user, and use those two icon spaces for flashcard and save vocabulary, or even if I could use for pronunciation check. And then I should try making the menu and profile icon consistent all across the application. And finally, the learnings from this application designing is, so to start off with, I really enjoyed conducting user research and prototyping phase, uh, and then end of every phase, it was a lot of research data. And then after the usability testing, most of my preconceived notions of users behavior on how things work, especially with mobile applications, were proven wrong. And then I liked creating the job stories and the user stories for every single tasks uh, in the process. I have actually liked the whole process, and then I could use this to formulate my own design process. And cons of this whole design cycle, I would say, is user research phase and the prototyping phase seems to take a lot of time, and then it's a little hard to find the usability participants for usability testing. And I found an online tool where moderate testing is possible with Lookback, but the setup process seems to be a little tedious. And then I felt personally there are a lot of other prototyping tools with better features like InVision, or even better apps than InVision are available in the market. But still, I feel Prototype has a decent features, and it is very easy to use. So that's all I have for this presentation of my vocabulary application, and I have mentioned the whole process I've gone through. And thanks for watching.